Thank you, Mr. Malhotra. The next speaker for this session, Mr. Dinuka Perera, COO, LankaClear. We welcome you on stage.
Okay. Good afternoon. So my presentation is going to be a bit of a throwback to today's session because I'm going to talk about something completely different from what you have heard probably for the most of the day. You have heard about a lot of technology, how systems can be developed using this technology. And I'm going to share my experience in terms of using this cutting edge technology when you implement systems in your organizations, kind of challenges you will face and how you need to kind of look out for those challenges. Okay, so I mean, we talked about a lot of technologies, the systems you can develop using these technologies. One thing that I have noticed that when we develop these systems, we tend to look from an organization perspective. So especially in the government, you would have seen government has come up with number of systems, but when the citizen takes services or products from these systems, the system is not designed in a manner where the citizen's convenience is looked at. If you go to get the driving license or the passport or register your vehicle, you would see how many counters that you need to go into. So one advice I would give you is whenever you use this cutting edge technology and develop systems, always look at how your customer would benefit from these. Obviously, it will bring in a lot of efficiencies, benefits to your internally to your organization, but keep the customer also at heart. Because at the end of the day, your competitive advantage could be how best you serve your customers. So when implementing technology, developing systems, implementing those systems, look how these systems can be developed more from a customer-centric point of view than organization point of view. Another mistake we tend to do is to go and blindly automate our existing systems, which should never happen because in our manual processes, there can be a lot of inefficiencies which are embedded in these manual processes. So when you look at automating or introducing technology, you first need to look at the process and improve that process. For example, let's say you currently have a process which takes 6 days and there are 10 touch points. First, what you look at is, okay, if I take this process, can I re-engineer this process so that it takes only less than 6 days and I can reduce the number of touch points. And once you optimize your process, then bring in technology to make it more efficient. Look at technology as an enabler, as a facilitator to make it your system or your processes more efficient than blindly automating. Because if you blindly go and automate a process that you have already, you will also automate in the inefficiencies that are inherent in that process. So we talk about business process re-engineering, so that's what it comes to. Also, something that I have experienced in my tenures in the government as well as the private sector, when we implement systems, especially large-scale implementations, takes a long time to implement. So if it is the first time you are going on a digital drive, if it takes a long time for your key systems to come on board, the people can lose interest on it. So it is important to look at, to capture the imagination of the people, keep them passionate about technology, to introduce quick wins, so people are embracing technology more and more. So if a system gets 1 year to be implemented, look at coming up with certain systems, the built-in systems that are available, like inventory control systems, payroll systems, even something simple like having a tokenized systems when your customers come to get your services. So once you have those quick wins, the people, the internal people, your staff would be motivated to embrace the technology much more. So one of the such quick wins, it's a commercial break, the LankaSign digital signatures are also a quick win you can look at because it's kind of a plug and play where you can very quickly introduce the digital signatures for sign-in processes. So always when you are going on a digital drive, look at how you can have certain quick wins in your system to be introduced for people to be passionate about what the dividends of technology can bring in. Okay, so again, this would sound like a no-brainer, but resistance to change, you need to expect at every corner, right? You can have just one person who's not embracing the technology that you are trying to introduce, but that one person can have a detrimental effect on the entire system that you are trying to introduce. So never underestimate the resistance to change. You need to manage the change properly. So change management also is part and parcel of introducing technology to your organizations. You need to look at change champions, people with, who has wide acceptance in your organization, who are influential figures, to be seen as the change agents or the change champions to go and talk about this technology, the systems that you are going to introduce, so they can take the message and get the other people also to fall in line. One other mistake some of the companies do is they go for large-scale implementations. But you need to be mindful that before going on a large-scale implementation, to develop a proof of concept, or what we call a POC, to ensure that what you are getting out of this technology, this system, is actually what you need, what serves your purposes. So it's always a best practice, a good idea to have a proof of concept developed, because with that, you can test the waters. Okay, so the last tip I can give you is, you need to think big, right? But start small and scale up fast. So if you go for a large-scale implementation, like you have hundreds of organizations, or you have different institutions you want to implement a system, you should not be going headlong into such an implementation, but you can look at a pilot implementation which captures certain scenarios, do the pilot first, learn from the feedback you get when you are implementing those systems, and from the pilot to go for a large-scale implementation. So these are the 6 tips that I have come across, so I can share with you through my experience, that when you introduce this cutting-edge technology in your organizations, hopefully will help you to be successful. Thank you.